Hi folks, welcome to Friday. We've made it again. The starters that we're going to do today are directly relating to the kind of concepts that we're going to need to be looking at when we're factorising. So let's bash on with those just now before we start our algebra work. So, first question, which pair of factors of 12 has a sum of all these different things? So we're going to look at the factors of 12. So pairs of factors, remember we list factors in pairs. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Okay, so we can quite easily look at that list and see which pair has a sum of 7. Okay, so remember sum means you're adding them up. So we can see that that's the bottom pair, so that must be 3 and 4. Okay, which pair has a sum of 8? Well, that would be the middle one. 2 and 6 makes 8. And 13 is the top one, because 1 add 12 makes 13. Okay, so you might think we've got them all now, but look, which pair has a sum of negative 8? Well, none of those numbers are negative, so how can we get a sum of negative 8? Well, remember, when you're multiplying two numbers together, if the signs match, the answer is positive. So if you multiply two negatives together, you get a positive answer, don't you? So we could also consider the factors of 12 to be negative 1 and negative 12, negative 2 and negative 6, and negative 3 and negative 4. Okay, and then if we look and see which pair adds up to negative 8, we can see that it's the middle pair in this new set of factors. So negative 2 and negative 6 add up to give negative 8 and multiply together to give positive 12. And then for the negative 13, we can see that it's the top pair there. So negative 1 add negative 12 makes negative 13, but negative 1 times negative 12 makes positive 12. Okay? So, on to the second question, similar sort of idea. Which pair of factors of negative 15 have a sum of all those things? So we need to list the factors of negative 15. So let's list the factors of 15 first. Now we've only got two pairs of factors for 15. So if we're going to get a negative answer from multiplying two numbers together, then it has to be the case that the signs don't match. Okay, so we've either got negative 1 and positive 15, or positive 1 and negative 15, or we've got negative 3 and 5, or 3 and negative 5. So there are four pairs that multiply together to give negative 15. So they're all our pairs of factors of negative 15. And we want to work out, first of all, which pair has a sum of negative 14. So when you add them together, you get negative 14. So we need, to get negative 14, we need the negative number to be bigger than the positive number. So when we look at our four options, it's this one, isn't it? 1 add negative 15 makes negative 14. So the pair is 1 and negative 15. Okay, to get a sum of 2, so when you add them together you get a positive 2, so that means that the positive number is bigger than the negative number. So when we're looking at our options there, it's these two to consider, so it must be this one. Okay, so negative 3 add 5 is 2, so that's our pair, negative 3 and 5. Now to get negative 2, we just need to swap the signs around. Okay, if you're looking at getting 2 or negative 2, you swap the signs of your factors. So the 3 and the negative 5 would give us negative 2. Okay, and then to get a sum of 14, it must be one of the ones that have got 15 in it, and it's got to be the one that's got positive 15. So it's this one. Negative 1 add 15 is positive 14. So that's our pair there. Okay, these are the kind of things that we're going to have to think about in our factorising. So if we just recap what we're up to just now and what we've been up to, we factorised expressions using common factors on Monday. We factorised using a difference of 2 squares on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we looked at a mixture of factorising using common factors and a difference of 2 squares. And yesterday we started to look at trinomials, and today we're going to look at more trinomials. Okay, then next week we're not going to go straight on to factorising trickier trinomials. We're going to spend a little bit of time going over the kind of factorising that we've done so far, because it's really important that we get this right. Okay, so today we're going to do more practice factorising trinomials, and we're going to use the same steps to success that we used yesterday. Okay, so first thing we need is a question. So our question is going to be, let's say, x squared minus 8x plus 15. Okay, so this is sticking with what we were doing yesterday, so there's not been any change yet. This is one like yesterday's examples. So x squared minus 8x plus 15. So we're going to follow our steps to success. So first job is make 2 brackets, and then the first term in the brackets multiply to give the first term in the trinomial. So that's just going through step 1. So that must mean that to get x squared, our first 2 terms must both be x, because x times x is x squared. Okay, step 2 now. Write down the factors of the last term in the trinomial. The last terms in the brackets are going to multiply to give this. So our last term is 15, so we're going to write down the factors of 15. So we'll have 1 and 15 and 3 and 5, like we just looked at a couple of minutes ago. All right, so we've done step 2. Step 3, look at the sign of the last term in the trinomial. So the last term in the trinomial is this, and the sign of it is plus. So we're going to go down this branch. The signs in the brackets match the sign of the middle term. So they're either both plus or both minus. So if this is a plus here, then the signs in the brackets have to match, and they have to match that. So that must mean that they're both minuses. Okay, so that's step 3 complete. Then if we look at step 4, we're looking at this now. So the sum of these 2 terms gives the middle term of the trinomial. So we use the pairs of factors that we've written here and the signs that we've already put in the brackets to determine whereabouts which numbers go in the bracket in the end. Okay, so let's see. If we put 1 and 15 in here, then we would have, from this, we'd have minus x, and from this, we'd have minus 15x, which would give us minus 16x, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for minus 8x. So it can't be the 1 and the 15. So let's lose them. Put that bracket back in. So let's try the 3 and the 5. Okay, so this time, this gives us minus 3x, and this gives us minus 5x. So altogether, minus 3x, take away 5x, is minus 8x, which is what we were looking for. So we know now that that is the answer. Okay, so x minus 3, whoops daisy, times x minus 5 is the answer. Okay, and we can multiply that out to check. All right, just a quick check. We'd get x squared minus 5x minus 3x and plus 15. So that gives us x squared minus 8x plus 15. Okay, so that all works. All right, so now what we need to do is get rid of all that and do another example. So we're going on to examples now where we don't have a positive number as our third term in our trinomial. So we haven't seen that before. I think I'm going to do just maybe 3 or 4 examples of this, and and that'll be us for today. Okay, so what we're going to start with is x squared minus 3x, actually make that plus 3x and minus 10. Okay, so following the same steps as before, 2 brackets. So step 1 is make 2 brackets and put the beginning of the brackets in. Okay, so we've done that. Step 2 is write down the factors of the last term, so the factors of 10. So we've got 1 and 10 or 2 and 5. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 3, look at the sign of the last term in the trinomial. So this is the last term, negative 10, and it's a minus there, minus 10. So we're going to go here this time, down this side. Okay, we've only gone down that side before, we're going down this side. So the signs in the brackets do not match. You've got 1 plus and 1 minus. So we can put them in. Okay, so what we're looking for then is this and this to combine to give us plus 3x. So we need to be looking at our pairs of factors and seeing, now bearing in mind that you're going to be having one of them positive and one of them negative, which pair can give us plus 3x. And if we look at 1 and 10, we don't even need to put that in the brackets. We can see that any combination of positives and negatives of 1 and 10 cannot give us plus 3. Okay, we can't make plus 3x by putting 1 and 10 in those brackets. So we know it needs to be 2 and 5. Okay, now if the combination needs to be plus 3x, that means that the bigger number has to be with the plus. Okay, so we would have to put the 5 with the plus and the 2 with the minus. Okay, and if we multiply that out, so we've got 5x there and minus 2x there, gives us a positive 3x, so that's correct. Okay, so that's our answer there, is x plus 5 times x minus 2. Okay, so we're following the same steps. We can multiply out to check, so we'd get x squared minus 2x plus 5x minus 10, and we know that that plus 5x and the minus 2x combine together to give us the plus 3x in the middle. Okay, so let's lose that one and we'll do another. We'll do just a few so we can get the hang of this. Okay, so the next example that we're going to look at is x squared minus 4x minus 21. Okay, so we're getting used to the first couple of steps now. They should be easy just to get started. So write your 2 brackets, stick your letter in the front of both. Okay, step 2 is write down the factors of the last term. So that's going to be 1 and 21. And don't forget 21 is in the 3 and the 7 times table as well. Okay, so that's our pairs of factors. So 1 and 2 should be straightforward. They're exactly the same for every trinomial that starts with x squared or t squared or c squared or whatever. Okay, so step 3, look at the sign of the last term in the trinomial. So our sign of our last term here, negative 21. So again, we're going down this branch in step 3. So the signs in the brackets do not match, 1 positive and 1 negative. Okay, now we need to be considering this, and we need to make negative 4x from those 2 terms combined. Okay, so look at the numbers 1 and 21 or 3 and 7. We can't make 4 or negative 4 out of 1 and 21 regardless of the signs that we use. Okay, so it has to be the second pair. It's got to be 3 and 7. And because the combination is negative, the bigger number has to go with the minus. Okay, so we're going to put the 7 there and the 3 there, and we're going to check. Okay, so checking that out, we've got positive 3x and minus 7x, and 3x take away 7x does give us negative 4x, which is the middle term that we were looking for. Okay, so again, that one's complete, and our answer is this. Okay, another example. By the way, it's okay if you need to go back and watch these examples 2 or 3 times or more, just whatever works for you. And if you still don't get it, that's fine. In fact, if you don't get it still, will you let me know? Because if a few of you are saying that, I'll know that I need to spend more time doing more examples. Okay, it's always really good to hear from you guys and find out how you're doing and what I can do to make things better for you. Okay, so this time we're going to have an x squared and plus 6x and a minus 16 this time. So this time, again, we should be getting used to now spotting that it's a trinomial, filling in the beginning of the brackets and writing down the factors of the third term. Okay, if we can do that every time we've got to factorise a trinomial, then we're well on the way. Okay, then we need to think about the signs. So when this sign here is negative, it means the signs in the brackets have to be different. Okay, so now we need to look at these 3 pairs of factors and work out which pair of those we can get 6 from, bearing in mind that in each pair, one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Okay, so look at this last pair. If one was positive and one was negative, then they would just be cancelling each other out. There wouldn't be anything left, would there? If you had 4 add negative 4, that's just 0. Okay, so the 2 and the 8, that we can make 6 out of 2 and 8, can't we? And we can't make 6 out of 1 and 16, regardless what signs we use. So it must be the 2 and the 8. And because this middle term here is positive, we put the bigger number with the plus. So that means we put the 8 there and the 2 there. Okay, and then we can check that out, because now remember we need to do this. So we've got 8x from this one, and we've got minus 2x from that one, which gives us 8x take away 2x is 6x, and that's a positive 6x, which is what we wanted, so therefore that is the correct answer. Okay, you don't have to do all this drawing on it when you're submitting your answers. I'm doing it because I'm explaining it as I'm going along. Okay, so let's look at least one more example. If you're getting the hang of it, you don't have to watch the rest of the examples. You can just go on and do the practice questions if you like. Okay, so example, let's actually change the letter. So we'll do y squared minus 7y minus 8 this time. Okay, so again, let's just see if we can go through our first 2 steps without even reading through them. We need 2 brackets because we've got a trinomial that we're trying to factorise, and the first term in both brackets has to be y to give us y squared when we multiply out. Then we write down the factors of 8, 1 and 8, 2 and 4, and then we consider the sign of the last term. So this last term is negative, so the signs in the brackets do not match. We need 1 plus and 1 minus. Okay, so when we're considering this and this, we need to bear in mind that they're going to combine together to give us negative 7. Okay, so we can make 7 out of 1 and 8. We cannot make 7 out of 2 and 4, can we? So it doesn't matter what signs we use, we can't make 7 out of that. So it must be the 1 and 8 factor, and we've got 2 different signs. We need our answer to be negative, so that means that the bigger number has to go with the negative sign. So the 8 would go there and the 1 would go there. So let's just check these. We've got positive y and then negative 8y, and y minus 8y is negative 7y. And that's what we wanted in the middle. So that is our correct answer. Okay, now I'm going to do one more, and this time I'm going to do it without writing everything else down. So I'll show you what you could have written down when you're doing these then. Right. Okay, so this time we're going to have d squared minus 5d minus 14, I think. Okay, so 2 brackets, d at the beginning, factors of 14. Okay, so we've skipped right through steps 1 and 2 straight away. Just do that anyway, okay? Then we look at the sign of the last term in the trinomial. That's negative, so it means we need a plus and a minus in the brackets. And then we pick which pair we can make negative 5 out of, all right? We can't make negative 5, whatever we do with the signs, out of 1 and 14, but we can make negative 5 out of 2 and 7. So because we want negative 5d, then the bigger number has to go with the negative. So the 7 would have to go there, and the 2 would have to go there. Okay, so without writing it down, we can think, right, that's 2d plus 2d, take away 7d, gives us negative 5d. So we know we've got the right answer there. Okay, you can always multiply these out. You can do it in your head or you can do it actually. So d times d is d squared. D times negative 7 is negative 7d. Plus 2d gives you negative 5d. And then you've got positive 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. So we know we've got the right answer. So when we're doing these, this is all you need to write down. You don't have to have all those lines drawn on that I was doing for the examples. Okay, so good luck with those practice questions. And like I say, on Monday, at least, we're going to be going over what we've done so far. So I think at least Monday, possibly Tuesday as well, Monday we'll concentrate on trinomials. Tuesday we'll look at a mixture of everything we've done so far, I think, before we make it any trickier. Okay, so well done. That's another week completed. I will see you on Monday. Remember, you've got an assignment to finish for Sunday, so I'll be marking that on Monday. Okay, see you later.